Hi, I'm Patrick and this is the Mach-E vlog. We're really excited today. We're going to be taking a look at the Viofo A139 Pro that we just got. We've been running the Viofo A139 regular edition for the past year and a half, and I'm really excited to check out the upgraded version with the new STARVIS2 chip. So let's go. So the Viofo A139 Pro is now, it's a 4K HDR camera running on STARVIS2, which is brand new. A lot of dash cams are going to probably be switching to that. This is one of the first that has it. One of the really cool things that I like about this is that it has a forward-facing 4K dash cam, but it also has a rear camera that we can put in the rear of the Mach-E. It's basically, I think, a great option. We've loved it so far, and I'm excited to see what the image quality is going to look like as we're transitioning to the 4K HDR capabilities of this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look inside the package and show you like some of the other stuff that came with this. So first of all, it came with a nice little Bluetooth remote. This is an option that you can get with the A139 Pro. And what that means is, like, as you're driving, if you see something that you want to record, you can tap on the Bluetooth button and it will save that segment so it doesn't get overwritten, so that it's on the SD card. You can pull it out and you know that you have that captured. It has that button on the camera itself, but it can be a little bit, hard to hit that little tiny button. This you can mount wherever is convenient for you. It also came with a hardwire kit. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the hardwire kit today. I probably won't. I need to go get a fuse for this to work, but this is great to basically enable the dash cam to work while the car is parked, and then it monitors your battery level so that it doesn't discharge your 12-volt battery and leave you stranded, and it'll cut off the parking mode when it gets down too low. But very nice to be able to wire this in directly. By default, you can just plug this into like a 12-volt cigarette lighter looking connection in your car, and that's what we're going to probably do today. And they sent a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. You can use basically whatever micro SD card that you want. I try to stick with the name brands, make sure that it's something that's reliable, and I usually go with 128, but 64 should be good. So let me open this up real quick and we'll show you what's inside the magic case. So here's the primary part of the dash cam. This is the one that's forward facing, has basically a swivel mount for the lens so that you can adjust it up or down, whatever your preference. Then in the back, there's the connectors for the rear and the internal camera. There's the USB-C power connector, and then you can also connect it up if you have an additional microphone that you want to use. On the bottom, you have your power button. You can have it so that it, of course, powers on automatically anytime you turn on the car. The record button, so that you can turn recording on and off. The sort of emergency button, and that's the one that you tap if you want to record and make sure that 5-minute or 10-minute segment is saved and doesn't get overwritten. Microphone on and off, and then a Wi-Fi button so that you can connect to Wi-Fi with your phone and basically look at the camera footage live from your phone. So pretty cool little device here. And then, of course, what's really neat about this one, let's get rid of some of the paperwork and whatnot. Down here, there's the cables. We won't go into all the cables just yet until we start doing the install. So this is the rear-facing camera that we're going to mount in the back of the Mach-E. I might have said that it's a 3-channel. You can get a 3-channel. Our previous one was a 3-channel, but I only used the front and the rear, so that's actually what I got is the 2-channel. Sorry if I made that mistake, but anyways, this is a 2-channel front and rear. A lot of times people want a 3-channel because they get the front and the rear and then the cabin for like a Lyft driver or something like that. I never used the interior shot, so I'm happy with just a 2-channel, but I like that there's that option for you. And then, of course, there's a little tool for if I need to remove the camera or do some of the install or the trim so that I can do some of the install. And then this is one of the great things about these cameras is that it has very small cables to connect the front to the rear. So it's very easy to hide behind the trim. And I think that's about it for right now that we need to go into. Let's just go ahead and jump into the install. So I took the camera and was trying different mount positions. It just basically tapes into place. So I think this might be where I put it. I tried looking at mounting it to the plastic part, but I wasn't sure that I could get the full connection to securely mount it. Thought about mounting it over on that side, but then it's permanently sort of like in the driver's view. So it feels like being a little bit in the passenger's view is a little bit more preferable. And then I also thought about going down here a little bit, but then again, it was sort of like a very much like visible from the driver's side. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and mount it here, and then we'll try to tuck all the cables and hide those out of the way. So to mount it, you just remove the backing of the tape and just carefully place it where you want it to go. It's very, very sticky, very much like a permanent tape adhesive, so be careful where you just like plop it into place. You can't like really move it around once it's in place. Then after that, of course, just plug in the wire to go to the power supply, and you can just tuck it out of the way. And if you're doing a more permanent install, you might want to remove the trim. Because we were testing, I just wanted to like tuck it in the best that I could and hide it just for testing purposes, and it stays pretty well. Like, it's the only place where it's visible popping out of the trim was right here, where it goes from the windshield across the A-pillar and then to the window frame. So you can see it there, but otherwise it's pretty much out of the way. Then you have to also plug in the rear camera and doing the same thing, like feeding that up into the trim. That wire is very thin, so it's very easy to hide that one. And we just continued, onto the back the same way with that same method of like hiding things behind the trim the best that we could. Okay, so install is done. Literally just taped this on, plugged in the cables, and then just tucked them out of the way, and they are showing here. Now, if this is a permanent install, which I hope it will be, but we'll wait to see after the testing, then I can like remove this trim and actually hide it behind the A-pillar covering. But overall, like, you just see the cables going up here, they pop out here for now, and then I have it hidden behind the trim here. The little rubber coating here comes back out down here, and then I have floor mats, so it basically just goes under the floor mats, one to the center console and then one to the back of the car. So let's show you what the back camera install looks like. So again, I'm hiding stuff behind the rubber molding, and then it comes out here. And this one isn't quite as neat right now. Actually, it's not anywhere neat right now. And this is because once I hide it, it's like going to look good. But for right now, I have to be able to make sure that the rear hatch opens. But there's the rear camera install. The rear camera can be difficult to place on a car like the Mach-E because it has the curved rear glass. So it was hard to like get a good spot to where I could see out the back, but not get it at a weird angle because of the curved glass. But overall, I'm really pleased with this placement. This is where I had the previous one, so I just knew through all my troubleshooting this was a good spot. And this cable, like I said, it's like once we do our testing, I'll mount it up in the trim. But for right now, we're gonna go do some drives. We have to go up to LA tomorrow, so we'll do some testing and see if we can capture some like license plates and all of that good stuff. Okay, so here's our first sample of footage. This is on I-5 North, heading up toward LA from San Diego. We'll do some other footage throughout this so that you can see various samples of different lighting conditions. We'll also do some freeze frames, but for right now, just take a look and see the quality of the video image. You can see that it's a very wide view, so you can see pretty much all of the hood, the entire freeway from left to right. So it's very, very wide view. you do get some reflection from the dash, which is pretty much avoidable in any camera system. But here, I think, some of the things that are impressive that stood out to me, a lot of image detail as we're going, down the road. Plus, like here where we go under the bridge, it adapts very well to the shadows, even though it was still a bright day outside. So that's one of the things that's a highlight on this dash cam compared to others that we've looked at. Being able to pick up the dark areas as well as the bright sky is pretty impressive, and keeping all of that image detail because it is a 4K image. So we're just going to let this play for a little bit and then we'll hop to the next segment. And here we're passing some cars at a standstill, but you could see that it was very crisp in the image quality in the video. And on some slower streets, the sun was in a very bad position, so we get a little bit more, or quite a bit more, of that glare off of the dashboard. But really, again, not much that you can do here, but you can still see that there's a lot of detail that's being presented on the screen. You can read a lot of the signs, and when we zoom in later, you can see the license plates. You'll notice that you can also pretty much read the signs that are on the stores on the right hand side. So very, very nice to be able to get that type of image quality. And I wanted to show this one because we turned directly into the sun, which is a very tough condition for any type of camera, let alone a dash cam. And it did, I think, a great job with that bright sun basically blinding the camera. And then as we turn, we're getting onto the freeway here, turning in the opposite direction. You see that it basically does a great job of balancing the brightness the entire time, even as we're going through shadows and now facing away from the sun. Really impressive. Now here's the first freeze frame that I wanted to show you. This car sort of like cut us off, so this is the type of incident that I'd want to like take a look at. And if you see, I can zoom in and I can get their license plate number. So if something would have happened, I would be able to pull the footage, zoom in, get the license plate number if necessary. Now night footage, of course, is very difficult for any camera as well as dash cams. You can see here where it just had a stoplight and then we're getting ready to take off and drive, but you can see it's picking up quite a bit of detail for the low light conditions. I mean, it's a dark street, there are street lights. You can sort of make out the, what cars are which. It's picking up some of the buildings off in the distance. You could see the people that were crossing the road pretty clearly. Now, you're not going to be able to get as much detail in low light, but it does a fairly decent job of like picking stuff up that you would be able to at least identify a car a little bit better. You may not be able to get the license plate. We tried that in a couple instances, and just because of the tough conditions, that's pretty hard to do. But overall, like, this is pretty good quality image in a video dash cam. So this is something that, although I may not be able to use it all the time for security purposes, I think this could be useful for us in making YouTube videos of road trips and stuff like that, where we could pull footage and use it from the dash cam, because this is way better than any footage that we'd get from a GoPro that we normally use to create our road trip videos. So I might be pulling this type of footage. And even here you can see sort of like some of the sky, even though there's some trees. It's very hard to make it out, but you can actually see the sky and the trees are different in the darkness. And here's some footage on the freeway at night, and this is really hard for the dash cam, but you can see we went under a bridge. You could see the bridge even though it's very, very dark. Not much lighting on the road. You can see the lights from the cars illuminating a lot of stuff. And it's good enough so that you can sort of pick out like what's being said on some of the signs. You can pick out the types of cars, the colors. Pretty good for such dark conditions. I was really impressed with this. And again, something that we might pull this type of footage from the dash cam to use in our road trip videos, just because the quality is so good. Now, of course, we did not fully activate the parking setup. So this is just, it was running for a few minutes after we parked, but you can watch people walk around the car and pick out some details because it's, you know, during the daytime. If I needed to, I could probably pull off some license plate numbers, but I could also pull out descriptions of people and sort of see, you know, like if there was any incident that would be unfortunate, but I would be able to at least get a description of the person and, you know, what they're wearing, and take photos from this. And we'll show some snapshots of that coming up. Now, switching to the back camera, I haven't talked about that as much. It's only HD, so it's not quite as high of resolution, but you can still see pretty good details. And of course, we get a lot of glare because of the positioning in the Mach-E with the rear spoiler and the rear deck of the cargo area, but still able to pick out some great details with the rear dash cam. One of the great things about running a rear and a forward-facing dash cam, it's very easy to synchronize the two. So if you need to get both angles of what went on around you, you can do that, running them both at the same time and then syncing them up. And what I'm doing here is I just shrunk the rear camera view, put it up in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm doing that in my video editing software. But you can actually also look at it that way in the Viofo app, if you want to look at your footage that way. But if it's, you know, you download it to your computer, very easy to synchronize them that way. You'll also notice that we can set a few things in the bottom of the screen or the video recording. So down in the bottom left, I have the speed as well as the GPS coordinates. The product name is in the middle, and then over on the right, it's showing the date and time that the video was recorded. All of that could be very useful if you are, you know, of course, turning this over to law enforcement or insurance or whatever. So I like having that, and I like being able to synchronize the screens. Very, very useful. Now let's get into some snapshots. This first one is from the I-5 segment that we showed in the very beginning. And you can see here, there's that yellow car that caught our eye in the first video. So now let's zoom in, and I can show you, like, that's pretty good detail. You can definitely read the license plate number and the brand of the car. So nice to be able to take a 4K image and zoom in like that. Here's another still from one of our earlier videos, and then let's zoom in. You can see that because of the glare of the sun on that license plate, it's a little bit hard to read it out, but at the same time, you can probably provide that to law enforcement if there was an incident, and they would be able to, you know, find the make and model of the car combined with what the license plate number looks like and be able to find an accurate match for that. Another snapshot from Drive, and then we zoom in, and this one is a bit harder to see, but you can also see, like, even the FedEx truck pretty far up ahead. We can read the word FedEx. License plate number might be a little bit harder to read, but again, I think we could at least narrow it down and decipher it and probably provide law enforcement with something to work off of. Nighttime was a little bit of a different case. You can see that it was very hard to get any license plate number from that, but at least you could get the make and model and present that to whoever needs it. This is a snapshot from the parking lot situation, and we'll zoom in 1 second, and you'll see that you can pick out like a little bit better detail when you zoom in of the face and see the individual that was like walking by the car. You may be able to get like a logo off of the shirt or whatever. And even the gentleman in the back that was sweeping the parking lot, you can get a bit more detail about him as well. And then with the rear camera, again, it's not as high of resolution. It's only HD, not 4K, but you can see the lighting conditions here were better, even though we do get a bit more glare, but I can see a lot of details here just based off of the good lighting conditions. And if I zoom in here, you can read what's on the back of the vest of the guy that was sweeping the parking lot. Here's an instance with the back view of the camera. There's no front license plate on the car that I can read, but if I switch to the front video camera, once the individual passes, then I will be able to zoom in and catch that license plate number. So very useful. Okay, so those I think were some very good examples of the video image quality coming out of the Viofo A139 Pro We've had it for over a month now since we did the installation. I love having it available. I love the little Bluetooth button. That's very, very cool. I may still eventually, get a, wire it into the car or get a battery pack. I would love to get a battery pack so I don't have to worry about the 12 volt, just because they can be finicky in the Mach-E, not necessarily, any other reason than that. But overall, like I said, we've had it for a month. The image quality has been great. I love the fact that it has the 4K HDR resolution with the STARVIS2 chip with the front camera. The rear camera is still HD quality, very good quality. And the internal camera, we don't have it on this one, but it is an option. And just so you know, it starts off the one channel A139 Pro with just the front camera. It's around $250, $260, I believe. Goes all the way up to about $400 if you want all three cameras, and then the little accessories like the Bluetooth button and the kit to hardwire it are a little bit extra. But you can find all of those links. We'll put them down in the description so you can pick which one is most appropriate for your use and make a decision on if that's the one that you want to go with. But from the image quality, I think I can highly recommend this. Like I said, we were running the regular A139, not the Pro, running on the regular STARVIS chip for about a year and a half. The image quality was good on that. This is even better, but didn't have any like overheating issues or corrupted SD cards, anything like that in the past year and a half. So now that we have this one, I expect the quality to still be there. And like I said, it's just an overall great option to have. We love having it in our Mach-E. Our Mach-E, in case you don't know, it has like cameras for like the driver's assistance functions, but it doesn't have like a Sentry mode like they do in Tesla. So this sort of gives us that type of option and gives us some extra benefits because first of all, it's like I can pull an SD card out. It's nice having that option. It's also, I think, better resolution than the Sentry mode camera. So even if you have a Tesla, something like this could be useful. It's definitely useful in the Mach-E. And the fact that like it has the G-shock sensor, so if you get into an accident, it's going to save that recording, and that you can put it in parking mode and record everything while you're away from your car as long as your battery supports that. That's why we want to get that little battery pack. I'll put a link down below to some of the battery packs that you can get. And basically what you do is instead of plugging into like the cigarette lighter, you put a battery like underneath the seat and plug into that. And it gives you like maybe, 4 or 5 hours of recording time. So like if you're going out for dinner, that'd be a perfect case for that. It won't last you for days and days, but nothing will really unless you tap into the high voltage battery, and we don't really want to do that. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you want us to take a look at other dash cams, we're more than willing to take a look at those, but this is the one that will probably be running in our Mach-E. Stay on the lookout for some of our road trip vlogs. We will be using some of this footage in those. And if you have any other questions about the camera, feel free to ask. Like, we're going to be running this in our car, so if you have any, like technical questions or anything like that, of course, they have support forums or whatever. But if you have any questions, just, drop a comment or shoot us an email, info@machevlog.com or patrick@machevlog.com, either one. We'll get those, we'll answer those if the best of our ability, and if not, if it's something that's a Viofo question, we'll send it that way. If there's anything that you want to test it out in, let us know. We can do some of those things, maybe do like a little short test in the rain or something like that. Who knows? But anyways, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. We'll do lots more Mach-E content, other EVs, other accessories, just whatever. And of course, as time permits, we'll do some more road trips, but we still have to, do that day job things. If Liv were here, she would just say something like, just remember, whatever you drive, whatever you're recording or recording with, enjoy the ride. Bye.